Hi guys, welcome back to Android tutorial part 7. In the 7th part of this tutorial, I am going to explain how to retrieve data from an activity using the intent filter. In the previous part of this tutorial, you are already see that an activity is calling from another activity by using an intent object and by using the method start activity. So there is one more method is present. You can see that in the previous example we use the method called start activity for invoking the second activity. Here is the intent filter and we are using start activity for invoking the next activity. So in this part I am going to invoke another activity and I expect some result from the calling activity. So here I have to call the activity for getting some result. So instead of start activity, here I am going to use start activity for a result. So in order to demonstrate it in details, I am using the example that I am already used in the previous tutorial. So in the second layout I am going to place a button and text area here. I just delete the text view. Here I am going to change the orientation as horizontal. Here I am going to place an edit text. Edit text with Android. Layout width is equal to width is equal to 150 density pixels and Android layout height is equal to wrap content. Also here is the Android ID is equal to plus ID text. Okay, now I just place an edit text in the second layout. You can see that the edit text is present here. Now I am going to place a button here. So here I am going to place a button. Android layout width is equal to wrap content. Also Android layout height also is wrap content. Now I am going to create an ID for this button. Android ID is equal to plus ID bn. Bn is the ID for this button. Also place a text for this button. Android ID text. Refer from the string.xml. bn name. So I have to add the value for the button in the string.xml. Add a string value bn name. Submit. Now you can see that in the graphical layout there is the text view is present here and a submit button is present here. Now like in the previous example, whenever user click on the button on the first layout, it will coming to the second activity. User will enter a string value here and press the submit button, then it will automatically go back to the first activity, and first activity will receive the result from the second activity, and it will perform some action there. So here I am going to, so in this the Java, here is the Java file for the second activity. Now I have to create object for the edit text and button bn edit text txt. Now here is the import for this button. Okay, now I have to link this object to the identifier on the XML file. Here in the second layout you can see that bn is the identifier for the button, the resource identifier for the button, and text is the resource identifier for edit text. So I have to link these to bn is equal to find view by id r dot id dot bn. I have to cast it to button. Again I have to link the edit text is equal to txt is equal to find view by id r dot id dot text. I have to cast it. Yeah, txt is the identifier, resource identifier for edit text. Now you are successfully link this identifier to the object on the second .java file. Now I have to create an action listener for the button bn dot set on click listener new view on click listener. Here I have to import the on click listener. Here I have to import the on click listener. Okay, whenever user click the second layout, whenever user enter some input text here and he hit the submit button, then the result or the value from this edit text will going to or passing to the first activity. So in order to do that, I have to create an indent filter object here. I have to create an indent filter object here. So here I am just create an indent filter, indent data is equal to new indent. Okay, fine. Now I just create an indent object here. Also I am just creating a string here, string value is equal to txt dot get text dot to string. I just got the value from the edit text to the string variable value. Okay, now I have to do some changes in the first Java file. Here is the first Java file here. Like in the previous example, we are also using an intent object here, but here we using the start activity. Here I have to declare one more variable. I just an int variable request code. I just declare an integer variable request code. I just assign the request code value as 1. I just assign 1 for the request code. Now I have to start the activity for result. There are two arguments are present here. First one is the intent object, second one is the request code. Here is the request code. Okay, that's fine. A request code is nothing but whenever we call an activity for a result, the called activity will return a result back to the calling activity. So in order to identify the calling activity, whether the result from the exact target activity is got, so in order to identify that, we are using the request code. So by using the request code, the calling activity or the activity who call the other activity will know that it got the correct result or it got the result from the called activity. So in order to identify that, we use the request code. So in order to getting the result from the called activity or the target activity, we have another method. We have to place another method here called public void on activity result. We just place another method called on activity result. It have three arguments: intent, request code, int request code, int result code, also the intent data. Okay, it contains three arguments. First one is the request code, result code, and intent data. So here, in order to accept the result from the calling activity, first we have to check the request code coming from the outside activity matches the request code here. So here we are using an if loop. If request code is equal to request code. After doing that, we check the result code is exactly equal to result. Okay, if result code is equal to result. Okay, now I am going to get the data from the intent. So here I am just use a toast for displaying a simple message. Toast dot make text get base context as text. Here I am going to get the data dot get data dot to string, and I assign the duration for the toast dot length short. I just display the toast show. Okay, now we just create on activity result in the calling activity. So now I have to do some code segment, also do some code segment in the target activity also. So in order to do that, just go to the second Java file. Here we just got the string value from the calling activity, string value from the edit text component. Now I have to pass the value to the indent object. In order to do that, I just use the data dot set data. There is a method called URI dot pass. I just pass the string. Here is the value, is the string variable. Okay, now I have to set the result to the calling activity. In order to do that, we use a method called the set result method. Set result method containing two options called result code. Here the result code is result, okay, and indent object. Indent object is result. In the here the indent object is data. Okay, now we have to run this project. Run as an Android application. Wait for the AVD to fully load. Now AVD is loaded. Okay, now you can see that the project is successfully compiled and the application loaded successfully. Guys, one more thing I miss in this program. You have to finish the second activity. So here I just passed the data to the calling activity. Now I have to finish the second activity. So in order to finish the second activity, we use the finish method. Okay, now again I just run the project again. Okay, now the project is loaded again. Now I'm going to run it. Okay, here is the next activity button. I just press the next activity. You can see that the next activity is loaded. I just type a string here, Prabish, and click submit. Now you can see that the activity is passing to the. Now you can see that the first activity will appear and it does display the message. For again I just clicked it and again print another message, welcome. Again you can see that it will go into the first activity and print the message as attached here. Okay guys, thank you for watching. See you in the next part of this tutorial. Keep subscribe my channel for further video updates.